Welcome back to the Love Inspired Leadership Podcast. So thrilled that you are here. This is truly the space where we uncover the beauty of authentic transformation, rooted in courage, love, and the power of living a life aligned with purpose. Today, I'm deeply honored to sit with someone whose journey carries both resilience and wisdom, Bill Walters. Bill, welcome. And I'm just going to share a little bit about you. Before his rise as a trusted financial guide, Bill walked through profound seasons of caregiving, supporting his mother through dementia, raising a daughter with emotional and medical needs. Out of these tender yet extremely challenging chapters emerged his mission to help families, especially those navigating special needs, and experience financial stability and peace of mind. His story is one of heartache transformed into healing and service. And I can't wait for us to journey into this together, because I understand what it's like to navigate through those impossible times. And I just commend you, Bill, for stepping up and having these kinds of conversations to support other families, other parents and children to navigate through those times. So thank you for saying yes to being on my podcast.
Well, it's an honor and a privilege to be here. You were my first choice. That's why you're number one. And I appreciate your interview style and the opportunity to share my story.
Oh, beautiful, beautiful. So, Bill, can you share with us, that moment in time when your caregiving journey began and how it reshaped the way you see family, your responsibility, and the true concept of what resilience represents?
Sure. I think we have to go back to when I was 3 years old, and I was born with hip dysplasia. And in that time frame, the care with that is your hips don't properly connect into your socket, and you're just rendered unable to walk. Okay, and it requires 8 weeks bed rest. And so my mom was there to take care of me, and my hips became dislocated between the ages of 3 and 8, 6 times. And in those times, you had to relearn how to walk. And while I was in kindergarten, they had to set up a special bed so that I could attend class. I was taken to school on a red wagon, lifted into the school by the kindergarten teacher's son, who was a football player. And at the end, before he would go to practice, he'd lift me out, put me in the wagon, and I would be pulled home. So my mom was there to take care of me with no question, love. And I would ring a bell. I have to go to the bathroom. I'd have to ring a bell and something to eat. And, TV back then wasn't very exciting. It was Beverly Hillbillies and the Munsters and Green Acres.
Adam 12.
Adam 12.
Okay.
Right. Hogan's Heroes. Yeah. And after you've seen the reruns 2 and 3 and 4 times, there wasn't much to do. So she bought me an encyclopedia. It was Funk and Wagnalls, and I learned how to read at a young age. And I read the encyclopedia because you could only watch so much TV. So when we fast forward to my dad being on his deathbed, and he grabs my arm in his Navy way and says, "Take care of Mom." And I said, "Yeah, Dad, I got this." And then he really grabs me and he says, "No, I mean, take care of Mom." I'm like, "Dad, I answered you the first time." But I didn't realize when I said I got this, what that really means. Yes. And so when he passed, my mom ages 10 years in one day, and I inherit a lovely, lovely lady who just wanted to be cared for, but she's no longer sharp, and she's not the accountant that I grew up with. And eventually the cognitive abilities go away, and it's like having an infant. And so she wasn't violent. There was no issues. There's no regret. But in those 6 years of caretaking for her, I learned so much that I want to share that and reduce it to a 20-minute conversation, because you and I can say the kids nowadays are different, right? And without ruffling feathers, but they'll just throw us into a home if not given direction, right? But I wasn't given that opportunity because my mom loved me when I was in need, therefore I love upon her, right? And so as a faith-based person, I rolled up my sleeves and learned, and we created a way of doing things, and we passed that on. And so you don't want to be a burden to your children, but also you want to have that conversation with your aging parents while they're still cognizant, and get their wishes, hopes, dreams, and desires of their golden years in writing, laminate it, and have them sign it so that they know that this is what they asked for as treatment. And it's not simple, and it has to be flexible, right? And there's so many things to share. So I just want to give you the back.
I just want to say that, this situation we're describing isn't just about parents. Sometimes there's children involved that you have this opportunity of serving them, to support them if they're in crisis or need that support as a parent too. So I think so here's my question for you is I went through something similar, not exactly the same, where I took 6 years to serve a family member, and I shut down everything. I shut down a very successful speaking business, corporate training organization within 2 weeks because they got sick. And it was the hardest thing I've ever done in my life. And I know for a fact that decision was the right decision. It was the scariest decision. Yet what happened in those 6 years, I got to know who I was, because I was so busy before that corporately and making money and, being a mother. And so I'm just curious. Here's my question for you. What did you learn about yourself during that time of serving your mother?
So because we're loved first from source, okay, he loves us, so therefore we love. I got a chance to get to know my mom as a human, not as a mom, and to enjoy our time together. And I scheduled things, senior trips where we took senior trips together, and going to her first Christian concert, and setting up play dates. And this is funny because I had elderly people come over the house and have play dates with her where they would go to the movies and leave the movies and come back. And I would tell them, don't eat too much chocolate because it's going to make them hyper and it raises their blood pressure. And they don't know that. I would take her pulse ox before and after. I'm like, how much chocolate did you have? And she would giggle like a little kid, right? Yeah, like that. So I learned to love from a pure heart sense, no matter what happened. I mean, I knew where she was in the house because there was always a trail of crumbs, right? She loved cookies, she loved chocolate, and she wasn't trying to be messy or sneaky. She just did, right? And so we put her on the first floor, right? And so that there was, no fall risk, and gave her access to things, but we had someone in the house with her along with myself during the day so she could have a break for me, right? It was not for me. It was so that she can have a female companionship, and we created a schedule. So hopefully that answers your question, because it's just learning how to love.
You didn't quite. And I go for the truth here. So what I learned about myself was I got to know the character of who I was in serving my family member. Okay, so I actually changed some of my core values of living because of the honor to serve my family member. So I'm curious if any of your core values shifted and changed during that time of being in service and being selfless. And you talked about the purity of what love is. I think that's the essence of what happens there. Yet, is there any, let's just say we choose one that shifted or changed for you? I mean, you came from corporate as well.
Yes. You never judge a book by its cover. You meet people where they are in the road at that time. There's no, so I took away the negativity and it changed me to having a positive mindset. And when you have a positive mindset, anything is possible, right? You can still learn, and you take people at face value and you say, what are we going to do today to improve your outlook? What are we going to do today? And every day is a new day. So you don't assume something. You always see what you can do to improve the other person. And when I meet with people in the world of financial planning, I say, how can I honor and serve you today? And then they talk, and then I say, well, what's the biggest obstacle you're facing? A lot of times it's not finance. It's something totally different. Like, I need a plumber, or I know that sounds ridiculous, or I need this, and I always have a guy or a girl, right?
Right.
And that's what I solved that problem first, because I'm open to helping, right? Exactly. Where before I was so laser focused on getting to the point that I didn't have empathy. I didn't have a positive mental outlook. And therefore, I was a shell of the person that I am now.
Well. I just want the audience who's listening right now know that some of the hardest things that we go through in life at times have the biggest gifts, the biggest contributions into the love-inspired leaders that we are. And you've done this elegantly, you've done it purposefully, and I can just feel the energy of that transformation. And you receiving that gift of empathy and that gift of serving, it's priceless, to be honest with you, Bill.
It is. And the funny part is, you're trying to take care of them. But what happens is they actually love on you non-verbally, with their eyes, with their funny comments, and you learn something new that you didn't know before, that you just brushed over. And even though you heard the story 50 times, you learn something new on the 51st. Yeah. And you don't get mad when someone that's older repeats themselves. You say, really? Okay, tell me more. And because, yes.
Yeah, well, it's so true. And I mentioned before we got on here that my mom passed at 93, which was four and a bit years ago. And I used to meet her every Sunday for 3 hours. And we were writing a book called Grand Connection. And that is the grand connection of God in business. So she would plan all week exactly what we're going to focus on. She'd get all her information together. And I'd show up there on this little love seat and have fonts that are this big on my computer so she could read it. Her sight was challenged. And she'd sit there and go, no, that's not the right way to look at this, Carolyn. It's got to be this way. And I'd say, okay, Mom. So I'd type away and I'd say, how's this? Oh, yes, that's good, Carolyn. That's right. Yep, that's good. That's the right path. That's the right principle. Yes. So, those times that her and I had every Sunday for the last, number of years that she was alive, I look back on those times now, and they are just to be cherished inside my mind, inside my heart, and inside my soul, because what she gave to me was so meaningful. I mean, it still to this day inspires me into how I show up to serve the world in my business, because those are the moments in time that matter, right?
So accurate. We used to attend church, and she used to sit, I used to call it the little bitty club. And it was all the older ladies above the age of 80, and they would get together, and they would be like kids in the back. They'd be giggling and having a good time. And then after church, there was always food. And they would go and sit down and they would eat their food and talk and back and forth. And then it wasn't 15 minutes. It was like an hour and 10 minutes later. And she was smiling ear to ear. And so I would never rush it because this is all her contemporaries that would still be in church. And so she would cherish going to church for the food afterwards, right? Not for the actual sermon because she was interacting with her friends, right? And
it's community, right?
Yeah.
It's connection. It's community. Right. It's, we're not meant to do this life alone. I don't care if it's in business. I don't care if it's personal, right? And, I think that the way we live as a love-inspired leader is we can create those communities ourselves, which is what I've done for decades. And we also can ask and be curious about the communities that we get to connect with. And, it needs to be a place that you feel safe, that you feel cared for, that you feel nurtured, that you feel heard, that you feel special. And there's so much opportunity online as well as in person right now since COVID that has opened up. I mean, I started a global networking organization that ended up, we started at COVID just to serve the businesses that would be lost around the world. And we ended up attracting 23 countries within a few years. And over 6,500 people came through our events that I hosted. And it was such an honor for me to hold this space for these businesses that felt lost, that felt alone, that didn't have a place to connect with, that meant something. And, we did a great job serving all those businesses during that challenging time. And it's the same as your mom going to have, the white sandwiches cut up with the tea with her community surrounding her. It's connection. So I think the message here is I want the audience to take away is if you are feeling alone, there's lots of opportunity. It's a matter of making that decision to ask, also reach out to those people in your circle of family or friendships or whatever that you can get involved on a consistent basis within an organization, a community as well. I mean, you feel the same way about that too, I'm sure, Bill.
Yeah, we're basically seeing eye to eye here because no matter what the situation, whether it's a parent of a child that's atypical, neurodivergent, or IDD, however you want to say it, the child wants to fit in, be included, and grow every day, right? And the parent's goal is for them is the same. And so when you explain to them how special needs trust works, and they don't understand it because the lawyer never took the time to do so, and you tell them that, look, if you stand in the garage, does it make you a car? And they're going to say no, right? Well, just because you have a special needs trust doesn't mean you know how it works and operates. And shame on them for not giving you the time of day to explain that there's a lot of things you have to do with it in order to be in compliance with the rules. Yes. And the same thing applies when you're working with a family. There's a 5-year, 1-day look back so that the organization that you may or may not place your parent into can attach to as far as leaving a legacy. And there's the secret that I'll let out of the bag is long-term care does not have to be expensive. It could be pennies on the dollar. And it's these rich insurance guys that want to sell you a policy for $400 a month that it can be added on as a rider with someone like myself for pennies on the dollar that give you $10,000 a month coming in towards long-term care. And you can have home care for that, right? So they don't have to leave the comfort of their home. And people don't know it because no one takes the time to do it. And it's the right thing to do. And it's about eliminating sleazy salespeople and just serving people from your heart. You're doing the right thing every time.
Well, and that's education. I mean, what people don't know, they don't even know that they don't know it. So if someone, I'm just picturing someone listening here right now that has a family member with a disability. So, what would you recommend the steps that they take to come to that solution and that education and answers? Would they reach out to you or?
Always, because my services are complimentary. Unless your name is Gates or Rockefeller, I'm not charging you. Okay, because I consider myself God's financial advisor or God's guru for taxes, right? Because I'm just here to help people and give them the right advice. Now, it's up to them whether they want to use me or not, but at least I know that they're going to be advised correctly and given procedures to follow and areas to be helped in, right? And it's the first step is communication and taking a holistic view of where they are and find out where they want to be. So you provide a roadmap for their dreams, goals, and desires, and then a way to get there. And then they have options, and you remove the risks, and you assess each family individually, right? It's not a blanket. It's not cookie cutter.
No, it's an individual. It's also an intimate understanding of their current situation and what their dreams and goals and visions are. And then creating that roadmap step by step by step. And the truth is that I think it's important. It's absolutely important for people to be educated in order to feel confident in taking those steps. So I commend you for being that resource, Bill. I really do. So let's look at how these stories that you've shared with us have illuminated so beautifully with how faith, wisdom, and determination can change not only a family's finances, but also their incredible future. And I think peace of mind, to be honest with you, Bill. So it leads us into a powerful inquiry. And how does this work ripple out into the community, your living legacy, and the greater fabric of love-inspired leadership? And I want to just invite this audience that if they have a family member, if they know of someone that is struggling with this exact issue, to reach out to Bill, to have a conversation with him, to receive some guidance and direction. And also, I want to invite people to receive my 21-day above the line living, which is to live, lead, and love unapologetically with courage. And I think families that are facing those kind of issues need support. They need guidance. And so this is my gift to you, 21 days dropping into your email box, a 3-minute beautiful audio recording about how you can aim higher, have an activated, inspired mindset, and be a love-inspired leader. And anything else that you think, Bill, we need to wrap up here, this podcast? Any last statement?
So if you go to Proverbs 3, verse 5, it says, trust in the Lord with all your heart and do not lean on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he will make your paths straight. Do not be wise in your own eyes. Fear the Lord and turn away from evil. It will be healing to your body and refreshment to your bones. So what does that mean when it comes to finances? It means that you trust in the Lord. He wants you to live in abundance. Yes. He wants to have a positive mindset. And when you live in abundance, you're going to mentor someone. And when you mentor someone, you're going to teach them how to fish, like he taught us how to fish. And the joy you get from mentoring someone far outweighs anything else you could ever get, because it gives you a slice of heaven early. Okay?
It does.
So allow me to attract amazing opportunities that line with your dreams, because I trust in him that he will help you get us to your highest potential.
Yes. Thank you. And my last question to our audience is this too. How can you honor the perfectly imperfect parts of your journey today and lead from them with greater love, greater acceptance, greater courage, and purpose. Thank you, Bill, for joining us today. I've thoroughly enjoyed this conversation, and I just think you're contributing great things to people in this world. Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you for joining me on the Love Inspired Leadership podcast. If today's episode stirred something in your soul, share it with someone who's ready to aim higher. Keep holding your vision, anchor in your truth, and take intentional, inspired action, because love is all there is.
Hey, I'm Michelle Abraham, founder of the High Vibe Podcast Network, and we are honored to have Carolyn Cooper's Love Inspired Leadership show as part of our network family. For more inspiring shows like this one, visit highvibepodcastnetwork.com, and don't forget to grab your free gifts from our hosts in the gift fold. Till then, stay high vibe and keep sharing your life.